Let's return to This Week in America. Here's your host, Rick Bratton.
Welcome back, everybody, coast to coast, This Week in America. A United States Marine veteran and a dedicated career registered nurse of over 33 years. Randy Anderson has seamlessly transitioned from serving his country and caring for patients to weaving tales that captivate the imagination. His love for writing historical Christian fiction is deeply rooted in his fascination with Old Testament history. Randy's unique ability to develop compelling characters and intricate themes, all grounded in biblical facts, ensures that readers are in for a thrilling and enlightening experience. Randy's debut novel, Between Walls of Water, takes readers on an epic journey with the children of Israel as they escape Egypt. But the adventure doesn't stop at the Red Sea. The saga continues for another 40 years, filled with excitement and intrigue, making the series a must-read for fans of historical fiction. Randy calls Tulsa, Oklahoma his home, a place where his diverse interests and talents come together, creating a life rich in creativity, faith, and family. And Randy Anderson, author of Between Walls of Water, is our guest on This Week in America. Randy, welcome to the program. A pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, Rick. I am really excited about being here.
I'm excited about having you here and talking about this, Between Walls of Water. That's your book. That's getting so much good publicity, rave reviews from the readers, Amazon 5-star reviews. Let's go back to the beginning. How did this happen that you began writing? What was it about writing that captured your attention and writing this particular story?
It's kind of funny because I went to Oklahoma Baptist University, and at that university, they require you to pass the English proficiency exam. Well, the 6th time I passed the English proficiency exam. And so I never, ever thought I would be a writer. And I got out of the Marine Corps and got into nursing, and I do study a lot. And what I was doing, I was studying the children of Israel, and where I was at in the Bible, they camp in a specific order. So I'm a very visual person, so I had to get a big sheet of paper out, and I colored and I drew and all. But what I was looking at was the number of fighting men for each tribe. And once I got to doing a little more study on that, Moses led 2 million to 3 million people out of Egypt. And it just totally blew me away. So with all of the facts and that, I started putting it into story form for myself so that I could remember it. But then it just kind of snowballed, and I got caught up in it. And I mean, I really enjoy writing about stuff in the Bible and trying to add into areas that there's space. You know, the Bible will say this happened, and then in the next verse, many years later, this happened. Well, I like to try to fill in the many years.
Well, and people appreciate that. As you're reading the reviews Between Walls of Water, so many people say those gaps as we're reading the Bible. Randy has done an excellent job in filling those in. It's an amazing story. It's so well told. Between Walls of Water by Randy Anderson, our guest on the program. How closely do your books stay with the Bible? Talk about that, because you've done a remarkable job in telling a biblical story.
I like to be able to follow the Bible. I like if a person wants to sit down and go to that book like Exodus, and they can follow along with those headings at the top of their paragraphs and stuff, you can actually follow along in the book, but you'll stop because I'm filling in stuff, and then you'll keep going. So you can actually sit down with your Bible and follow along. The characters from the Bible maintain their names and their tribes and all their history. But when I introduce a character that's not in the Bible, I try to elaborate on that just a little bit. So people, they go looking for Felix in the Bible. They're not going to find him.
I want to talk about the characters in a second. I want to just wrap up one thought that you had there in talking about this is all based on the Bible. You said something I found interesting. I try to write with the intention of not only for the entertainment, but to show some of the history of the Bible. And some people would say, boy, can you really do both? Can you be entertaining and educational and enlightening at the same time? And you are. Talk about that talent you have of holding our interest with a very entertaining story. At the same time, you're showing the history from the Bible.
Well, I like to look at the character. I got into Moses's character and to Joshua's because they are in the Bible and they're going to lead the people along with the other characters I introduced. But the building of those characters, I guess, is born more out of my experiences and stuff. The writing of this book at this time is kind of crazy because this is the beginning of Israel. It's the beginning of all the hatred. It's the beginning of all the people choosing them and saying, we don't like you. And we don't like you living your life the way you live it. We're going to make you live your life the way we want it. And of course, that's what the Egyptians did. But even now, in our present day time, Israel is at the top of the list of what's happening. So in my book, they're at the top of the list. It's what's happening there. And now, how many years later, they are back in the spotlight. And it is, I just like being able to write and it actually coincide with what's happening now. I mean, a person can read the book, and I do try to explain who the Lord is and what he does and who Israel is and who the enemies are. I try to do that, but I try to maintain my story because I don't want to get off into all the stuff that they're talking about that's coming. I know the second coming is coming and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But that is not my job. My job is to take the Bible, take the story, and make it so that you are interested in it and you actually learn what the verses are saying.
It's a great historical perspective, and you've done your job well. The book is Between Walls of Water by Randy Anderson, our guest on the program. His website is randallcanderson.com. Book available, of course, at Amazon, the usual places. EC Publishing and ecbookstore.com in the product area there, the bookstore. All of this information, direct links on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Back to the characters. You've got this knack of developing memorable characters. Talk about the character development again.
Well, okay, so like when they were in Egypt and just living and working, I developed a character and characters in that some of the Hebrews were taken to be blocking dummies in practice for some of these Egyptian soldiers. Well, in that process, one of the Egyptian soldiers is always matched up with Joshua because he is an outstanding warrior. And they've never beat each other. They've always tied. And so they leave Egypt. Well, he doesn't know. Joshua doesn't understand that his Egyptian friend is in the 3 million people. And so there's a friendship and a camaraderie there that's going to switch because the Egyptian soldier was over Joshua in Egypt. But now that they've left Egypt, Joshua serves under Moses, and this guy is going to serve Joshua with Joshua and serve Moses. The best friend of, every once in a while I'd get, why in the world did I name this guy Salmon? Salmon. And so then I think, okay, I'm going to go look it up. And so I find that Salmon is in the direct lineage of Jesus, and that's why I picked him. So throughout all the books, sometimes I get lost in where I get these names. Another person that I developed that is in the Bible his name is called Gunny. Now, I'm a former Marine, and a gunnery sergeant is kind of impressive. And I thought that I was naming him out, but I found that Gunny is the name of the son of one of Jacob's sons.
Interesting.
I try to pull as many names out of the Bible, and if I'm going to be looking at a Syrian name or an Egyptian name or a Hebrew name, I'll look that up on my phone and look through the names and find a name that has a meaning that coincides with what's going on. So I do a little bit of study on these characters, and then when I develop somebody that's not in the Bible, I mean, that's all me. That is, I always try to build it around the character of the Bible, that they're supporting that character,
Yes.
that they are helping in that way.
You bring these characters to life. Talk about developing the personality, especially those that are new characters. And what comes first, the personality, and then you put a name on the character, or the character, and then you develop the personality?
Actually, I'll start out with a thought or an idea, and I'm thinking, okay, Joshua needs a wife. And so I'm thinking, okay, we don't know the wife's name. So I'll start looking for names. And it's amazing, Rick. I'll look at calendars. I'll look at the dictionary. And I won't look at a whole word. I'll just look at part of a word to come up with a name, or I'll use the name of somebody in my past and maybe spell it a little differently. But I'll look and see, okay, is this a female character? Okay, now who is she going to marry? What kind of personality does she have to have in order to be with this man named Joshua, who's going to serve Moses and be gone a lot, and is actually going to be a warrior in the end? The family of Acts, who is the star, kind of the star of the book.
Yes.
His family is obliterated. They don't want him around. And so I was redirecting Acts into a new family, and he becomes a part of Joshua's family, and his sister does too, and that is the tribe of Ephraim, where they came from. So developing the characters, I'm looking at who are they going to be matched up with. Is it best friend with best friend? And are they going to be warriors? Is it wife and husband? Is it friend and female? I mean, I try to keep the relationship correct.
Randy Anderson is our guest on the program, explaining the naming of characters, the personalities. When you read reviews, people are very impressed with the personalities. The story comes to life in Randy's book, Between Walls of Water. Book available wherever books are sold. Amazon, of course. Randy's website is randallcanderson.com. Information on Randy there, and of course you can information and order the book there as well. Link on the website, thisweekinamerica.us. Randy, what is the age for a reader to begin your book? I always hate to put an age limit on it, because young people are enjoying it. Us older people are enjoying it as well. What age limit would you say is good to begin reading this book?
Well, we actually wanted to put an age limit on it because we would like to get into, homeschool kids and stuff like that.
Yes.
And so the book actually has to have a time. So we're thinking, looking at the words that I use and the story, and sometimes it can get a little graphic as far as sacrifice and stuff. But I have a 10-year-old granddaughter, and she's working through it, but she's having to work through it. I think a 12-year-old and up would probably be able to comprehend the words and the situations.
And I fall in the and up category, and you'll learn something in reading Randy's book, Between Walls of Water. Again, his website, randallcanderson.com. People are talking about, I really enjoy the story. I enjoy the storyteller. I hope there's more. Are you working on other books in the series?
Yes, Rick. I have Between Walls of Water, and then I pick it up after they cross the Red Sea, and it's called Beyond the Banks. Then they go to Mount Sinai, and that's called Base Camp. Then they enter into a covenant with the Lord, and I called that Binding Covenant. And the last book is called Battleground, but then my son said, have you ever thought about writing a book from the perspective of somebody living through the plagues? So I thought about that for over a month. And so I'm working on that book as the plague. It will be a prequel because it goes back to the very call of Moses, his history, and brings him to Egypt. So there are actually 6 books in this series.
And you can follow how Randy is doing when books are available by going to his website, randallcanderson.com. Stay up on it. When the new book is available, you'll be able to order it there as well. You'll find out when the books will be available. Is there a message in this book, Between Walls of Water, messages, themes you want to resonate long after the readers finish the book?
Well, yes, I'd like for them to understand how important Israel is to God and what he did in order to free them. I mean, he brought Egypt to its knees. I would like for them to understand that our God is a loving God. He's a caring God, but he's also very jealous and he doesn't want to be shared. So I have a warrior in the book that comes to acts in his dreams. And that warrior is actually the Lord, Jesus. And he explains, he notices scars and stuff like that that kind of give hints to who this person is. But I don't ever label them. And I want them to experience that this warrior is also fighting for you, where you are right now. And I want this book to be an encouragement that if you see how God took care of Israel, he's going to take care of you. So that's kind of the themes and the messages in the book that I would like.
You also focus on qualities of faith, obedience, honor, integrity, perseverance, and love. All of those are themes that Randy touches on in his book, Between Walls of Water. Did you draw on any of your experiences in writing this story?
Oh, yes. Whenever, whenever Acts goes into, he's going to have a vision and his right ear rings, that is because my right ear used to ring. I had a problem with my heart and I would pass out and fall down.
Wow.
So I came up with that with him through that experience of mine. Anything to do with like walk. The Marine Corps does a lot of walking. We do a lot of flying, but we do a lot of walking with packs and stuff. And so I'm looking at these people and drawing from my own experiences that sometimes people have muscle cramps, sometimes it's very thirsty. It's drawing on their personalities. There's probably some mixture of personalities that I've met through my life, I'm sure. I know that my father is in Moses a lot. My mother can be in a couple other books. My mother, her personality shows up in a couple of ways, but I draw on people all around me to get this across. And I like as well to mention the love and the dedication and the strength and endurance that somebody has. The opposite side of that, there is an enemy in the book, and the enemy wants exactly the opposite. Is working in around the people and catering to what their emotions are, to what they just want. And that gets them in trouble several times. But what am I trying to say here? The strictness of the Bible is there because in that strictness is safety.
Yes.
That is what I want people to understand too, is that in the Lord and in his strictness, even though it is strict, and it's not like we can't have fun. I have a blast. but it's in him that we find safety. We don't find safety anywhere else.
Well said. Randy Anderson is our guest and the author of Between Walls of Water, book available wherever books are sold. Randy's website, randallcanderson.com. A couple minutes left in the program. When do you like to write? Is there a particular time of day, a particular room in the house that maybe is more productive than others? What's the writing style? What goes into your process of writing?
All right, my process is I'm in my office and I collect Matchbox cars and old stuff, and I have Christmas lights kind of that I always keep up on the wall, those big beholds. And I have a light that I made, and I come into my office and I'll sit down and I always have to reread either the last chapter or several pages in order to get back into the flow of what's happening. And if I sit down and I can't, and it's just not coming, I'll get up and go out my shop and I'll build something out of wood. Then I'll come back and I'll sit down, and pretty much usually it'll come. But I love writing in the mornings. I'm not a late night writer. I love writing in the mornings. I mean, I have gotten up at 5 and 5:15 with dreaming or something on my mind, and come back in here and have to put it down because I don't want to lose it. And sometimes I just make notes, but I am a morning and afternoon writer.
Interesting, and it all goes into Randy's success as a writer, Between Walls of Water. To wrap up here, where are you going from here? You mentioned the books. Talk about your life. You're really touching people with music and faith. The music, a big part of your life as well, going back to Oklahoma State University. You use all of the different art forms, don't you, in reaching people?
Yes, I really do. I like to write music. I like to sing. I like to build things for people and give it to them and tell them, hey, I just want you to have this and just be blessed. I really, really care about people understanding who the Lord is. And I really, really care about them seeing his personality on the loving side. There's a jealous side that's very strict, but he is so fun. I mean, the first time I was writing it and he laughed, the Lord laughed, talking to either Moses or Acts or something. I just got to thinking, he really has a great sense of humor. And I try to put that in the book with, especially between Acts and Salmon, or his two older brothers, which would be Telach and Joshua, as they become friends and brothers. But I just really care about people getting into the message and seeing just how good he is.
You are a gifted writer. The presentation is one, again, of it's entertaining. At the same time, it's biblically based. It's giving us a lesson. It's giving us a number of lessons. To wrap up the book, this book is available right now, Between Walls of Water by Randy Anderson. When will the next one be out again? And I assume the website's the place to go to get information on the rest of the series.
You can order the next book online, and they'll have it ready for you. It's actually supposed to be in print. I haven't got any word back on that, but they've been working on it since the middle of the summer. And I'm sure they're going through it real well, and I appreciate that. So it shouldn't be too much longer before the second book is out. The other books are written. All they have to do is be edited by my wife and my daughter, and we send them off.
It's a family affair, and I love that, the attention to detail and the messages that you have in your books. The book is now available, Between Walls of Water, by Randy Anderson. His website, randallcanderson.com. Check that, see when the next book is available. Hopefully, Randy, we'll have you back in the program to be able to talk about that as well. A remarkable job in this book. Can't wait to talk about further books in the series. And again, all of this at Randy's website. Thank you, Randy. It's been a pleasure having you on the program.
Rick, thank you so much for this. I really do appreciate it. And I really look forward to meeting you again on this.
Looking forward to it. Randy Anderson. The book is Between Walls of Water, the first in a series. All the information at Randy's website, which is randallcanderson.com. Book also available at ecbookstore.com. I'd like to thank ecpublishing.com for arranging our conversation with Randy today. And, of course, all this information on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. And we're back on today's program right after these messages.
This Week in America is online. You can visit our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Scott Pinkerton, Associate Producer of This Week in America. Jay Anderson, Segment Producer. Ben Watson, Webmaster. Otto Bechet, Director of Engineering and TV Production. This Week in America produced and is a trademark of Blue Funk Broadcasting, LLC. For information on all of our guests and to listen to this week's show, our website again at thisweekinamerica.us. And I'm Sean Bratton, Executive Producer of This Week in America.